The galaxy remembered humans for their technology, their rage, their unpredictability. But on the final day of the Orion War, when humanity had been reduced to a whisper, a single human soldier stepped forward, not with a weapon, not with a threat, but with a courage so raw, so impossible, that entire alien armadas froze in place. What they witnessed changed the outcome of the war and the future of the galaxy itself.
Before dawn, the battlefield was silent. The war had taken everything. Cities turned to dust, fleets reduced to drifting scrap, and humanity pushed to the edge of extinction. Only a few scattered resistance cells remained, fighting with scavenged tech, stolen food, and hope so thin it was almost painful to hold on to. The largest alien coalition in history, the Kade Dominion, had gathered its final strike force above the ruined world of Arcturus IV. More than 1,000 ships hovered in formation, forming a cold metal horizon that blotted out the morning sun. And below them stood humanity's last organized unit, the Sole Defense 12th Battalion, once 800 strong, now only one remained. Sergeant Aiden Locke, the last soldier of his battalion, stood alone in the ash-filled wind. His armor was battered, scorched, missing entire plates. Energy burns marked his face, a fresh cut above his eyebrow dripping down beside his eye like a crimson tear. But he didn't run. He didn't kneel. He didn't lower his weapon. As the alien armada descended, their war drums vibrating through the ground, every surviving drone projection showed the same impossible image. One human standing alone against the largest fleet in the sector. On the bridge of the Dominion flagship, Supreme Strategist Vortal watched in utter disbelief. "This cannot be correct," he hissed. "Scan again. No reinforcements, no hidden units, no orbital guns." The scanners confirmed the truth every time. One human, a single soldier. But for reasons no alien could yet explain, the soldier felt more dangerous than an army. Aiden Locke slowly removed his helmet, not out of surrender, but out of defiance. He wanted them to see his face. He wanted them to see that humanity did not break, even at its final breath. And for the first time in the centuries-long conflict, the Dominion hesitated. Their entire advance paused. Because there was something in the man's expression, something fierce, unbroken, almost terrifying in its calm. Aiden Locke was no longer fighting for victory. He was fighting for humanity's memory, for the promise that humans would not vanish quietly. And that courage would soon shake the galaxy to its core.
High above the ruined plains of Arcturus IV, the Dominion's grand fleet drifted in motionless formation. Thousands of alien eyes stared at a single feed, the lone human on the surface. A silence spread across command bridges, war rooms, and tactical halls, the kind of silence that only appeared when fear overtook logic. Aiden Locke stood defiantly, chest rising steadily, gaze locked on the ships above. He wasn't shouting, he wasn't threatening, he wasn't even aiming a weapon. But the calm in his posture sent a ripple of unease through creatures who had conquered hundreds of worlds without hesitation. In the Dominion flagship, strategist Vortal paced in agitation. Why does this human not flee? Why does he stand as if he commands the battlefield? His second-in-command, a towering four-armed Osculite, replied quietly, "Because he believes he does." It was an answer Vortal did not understand, but felt. Across dozens of ships, alien crews muttered among themselves. Is he a decoy, a trap, a weapon? No human would face a fleet alone unless they knew something. Fear twisted their logic. Meanwhile, on the planet below, the wind brushed ash across Aiden's boots. He could feel the weight of thousands of alien eyes studying him. It should have terrified him. Instead, it filled him with a clarity he hadn't felt since the war began. For the first time in months, he felt human again. Not a soldier, not a survivor, but a symbol. He took one slow step forward. That single step sent a shock through the Dominion fleet. Audio sensors spiked from sudden murmurs aboard the ships. Tactical AIs flagged the gesture as potential threat with increasing probability. Battle stations across the fleet began raising shields in panic. Vortal slammed a fist against the console. Why does he move as though he fears nothing? Because he had nothing to fear. Humanity had been shattered, his friends gone, his world ashes, his battalion dead, and yet he remained. That kind of courage didn't fit any Dominion psychological model. It was unnatural. It was terrifying. Aiden knelt slowly, lifted a handful of scorched soil and let it fall from his fingers. A gesture of mourning, a gesture of defiance, a gesture that told the Dominion a truth they were never prepared to face. Humans were not dangerous because of their weapons. Humans were dangerous because of their will. And the fleet, an empire built on fear, did not know how to fight something courage-born.
The air around Kade rippled with the low hum of the alien dreadnought hovering above the ruined plaza. Dust drifted past his boots as he stared upward at the descending platform. Metallic limbs unfolded, lowering a towering figure draped in ceremonial armor, smooth obsidian plates etched with glowing crimson veins. This was Commander Threxel of the Zir Dominion, the butcher of 4 systems, the strategist whose cold precision had ended rebellions before they began. Entire battalions trembled at the sound of his name. Yet now his 4 burning eyes were fixed solely on the last human soldier standing below. Kade felt the weight of that stare, not hatred, not mockery, something sharper, something calculating. The platform struck the ground with a thunderous clang. Alien soldiers formed a perimeter, their spears humming with contained plasma. Civilians hiding in the destroyed buildings watched in breathless fear. The wind carried the metallic scent of ozone. Charged weapons locked on a Kade's heartbeat. Drexel stepped forward. His shadow swallowed Kade. "You stand alone," the commander's voice resonated, deep and layered. "And yet you do not kneel. Humans usually make noise when they are afraid. You are silent." "I'm not alone," Kade replied, keeping his voice level. "You just don't understand how humans fight." Drexel's eyes narrowed. "Explain." "You think strength is about numbers, technology, intimidation." Kade lifted his chin. "But humans don't break the way you expect. One soldier can change the direction of a war. One moment of courage can terrify entire empires." Drexel laughed, a serrated mechanical sound. He gestured to the sky. Rows of battleships shifted formation, their cannons glowing brighter. "Courage is irrelevant," he said. "Firepower decides fate." "And that's why you'll lose," Kade answered quietly. Something flickered across Drexel's expression, not anger, but uncertainty. The human stance, the calm in his eyes, the refusal to surrender, it contradicted every Dominion psychological profile. Then a warning tone echoed from the commander's wrist bracer. "Commander," a voice crackled through, "telemetry update. The artifact beneath the human is activating. Energy levels rising beyond prediction." Drexel slowly looked down at Kade's boots. A faint golden ring of light pulsed beneath the cracked stone, expanding outward like a heartbeat. Kade didn't move. He didn't have to. For the first time in years, the galaxy's most lethal commander took a single step back.
The golden light beneath Kade's boots grew brighter, spreading through the shattered stone like glowing veins awakening after centuries of sleep. Every pulse sent vibrations through the plaza, soft at first, then rising into a low, resonant hum that made dust lift from the ground in tiny dancing spirals. Kade felt the energy before he understood it. Warm, ancient, familiar. Drexel's elite monitors tightened their formation, their weapons shifting from intimidation to outright panic. Several stepped back, mandibles twicking in alarm. "Commander, the readings are surpassing Dominion weapon output," one of them hissed, staring at the scanners. Drexel raised a clenched fist, signaling them to hold, but even his normally controlled voice trembled. "That cannot be! No human world possessed!" A shockwave cut him off. The ground split open in a ring around Kade, not violently, but purposefully, as if the earth were peeling back to reveal something sacred. The symbol beneath him rose, a circular platform made of smooth metallic alloy unlike anything used in modern engineering. Intricate patterns glow with the same golden hue, swirling like circuitry that was also alive. Kade staggered only for a moment before regaining his footing. It's responding to me." Miles above, the alien battleships paused their charging sequence. Massive cannons powered down one by one, confused by the impossible energy readings. A booming voice echoed through the plaza, not from speakers, not from Drexel, but from the platform itself. "Verified. Human signature matched." The aliens recoiled. Kade's heart hammered. He didn't understand what signature they meant, but the platform did. And it had chosen him. Light shot upward in a straight column, piercing the sky and flashing across the Dominion fleet. The clouds above twisted, clearing into a perfect halo around the beam. Wind roared outward, whipping debris through the ruins. Drexel shielded his face with a gauntlet, shouting over the storm, "What have you awakened?" Kade didn't answer. He couldn't. The energy wrapped around him like a living force, lifting, supporting, filling him with a strength that was not physical, but something deeper. Something human. Visions flashed in his mind. Ancient humans constructing this device long before the Dominion existed. A message encoded into the platform. A warning. A weapon. A legacy. Not meant for armies. Not meant for nations. Meant for a single human who refused to kneel. Kade's eyes opened, glowing with the same gold as the rising platform. And every Dominion soldier stepped back in fear.
The golden beam rising into the sky didn't fade, it expanded, widening into a luminous column that wrapped the entire plaza in shimmering light. Dust turned to glowing particles suspended like fireflies. Every stone, every ruined wall, every shard of old Earth technology trembled under the ancient power flowing through Kade. Dominion soldiers stared, frozen in disbelief. One whispered, This is not possible. Humans were primitive." Another choked, "Primitive species do not activate god machines." The beam pulsed. With each pulse, the Dominion fleet systems hiccuped, shield frequencies destabilized, cruisers drifted off formation, power signatures fluctuated wildly across their network. The aliens' greatest advantage, perfect synchronization, was crumbling. Kade felt the energy swirling inside him, not as overwhelming force, but as a connection, a link. He wasn't just standing on the platform, he was part of it. The visions continued, a lost era, ancient humans traveling further than current maps dared mark, a secret war, a final message left behind for the ones who would survive. The machine wasn't a weapon, it was a signal tower, a lighthouse, a message meant to echo across the stars when humanity needed it most. And now, everyone was hearing it. Above, the Dominion flagship's bridge erupted into chaos. Commander Threxel, energy spike growing again. They're destabilizing our fleet matrix. Shields are collapsing. Pull back the armada. Pull them. Hold your positions! Threxel roared, though fear cracked his voice. This human is tapping into a relic older than our empire. If we retreat now, the council will strip us of command. But the soldiers didn't look convinced. Some backed away. Others lowered their rifles. A few simply stared, realizing the truth. The Dominion wasn't witnessing a human anomaly. They were witnessing human destiny. On the ground, Kade raised a hand, not an aggression, but an instinct. Light followed him, swirling up his arm like molten gold. The air vibrated with a deep harmonic frequency that every species in the fleet could feel in their bones. Not a threat, not an attack, a warning. Threxel's mandibles clenched. What are you, human? Kade finally spoke, voice layered with the resonant tone of the machine. I'm not the weapon you should fear. I'm the reminder. The beam flared, brighter than ever, and for the first time in Dominion history, an entire alien armada hesitated.
The Dominion flagship trembled as shockwaves rippled out from the golden beam. Not physical shockwaves, worse, signal disruptions, Neuralink interference, command chain fractures. Every Dominion soldier relied on a shared lattice of thought, a network linking mind to fleet, and that network was collapsing. On the bridge, Commander Threxel gripped the railing as holoscreens flickered chaotically. Report, he barked. A technician hissed, antennae twitching with panic. Our cognitive mesh is fragmenting, sir. The human signal. It's overriding our fleet's resonance. Override it back. We can't. It's not a weapon. It's a broadcast, a universal harmonic. It's forcing our systems to sync to its frequency. The Rexual's eyes widened. A single human, disrupting an empire. But this wasn't Kade attacking. This was the machine speaking, and the galaxy had no defense for what it was saying. On the ground, Kade could feel millions of minds pressing at the edges of the beam. Fear, confusion, rage, and something else he never expected. Recognition. The ancient device wasn't contacting ships. It was contacting species. The light pulsed again. Kade gasped as another vision slammed into him. A council of ancient humans standing before a star map. Galaxies marked with warnings. Enemies unknown to today's Dominion or human historians. A final message. When one human stands, humanity stands with them. The beam brightened. Dominion cruisers faltered. 2 battleships drifted out of formation entirely as their crews collapsed from neural overload. Drones fell from the sky like rain, their processors scrambled by the impossible resonance. Down below, the Dominion ground commander, General Kortek, roared in fury and fear. This is impossible. Humans are a death world species, not a precursor empire. One of his officers trembled. Maybe they were both. That was when Kortek made the one mistake history would never forget. He charged. Leaping forward with a plasma spear, he aimed directly at Kade's heart, but the beam responded. A circular wave of golden energy erupted outward, not violent, not deadly, but unmistakably protective. Kortek was launched backward, as if struck by a mountain, armor cracking as he slammed into a wall. Kade didn't move. He didn't even raise a hand. The machine defended him. And the entire Dominion realized, in a single dreadful moment, Kade wasn't controlling the relic had chosen him. Above the battlefield, 3 Dominion cruisers broke formation and initiated full retreat without orders. Their captains had made their own decision. They weren't going to war against a human. They were going to war against humanity's past.
The Dominion fleet, once the most feared force in 3 sectors, now hung in silent disarray above the shattered valley. Their formation, once precise as a blade's edge, had dissolved into scattered panic. Ships drifted without command. Others retreated with engines burning white-hot, refusing to risk even one more second near the impossible human below. And still, the beam of golden light streamed upward like a pillar connecting Kade to the ancient sky. But something inside the beam had changed. The machine was no longer sending visions of history. It was waiting, watching, listening. Kade stepped forward, barely recognizing his own voice as he spoke into the light. "I'm not a weapon," he whispered. "I'm just one soldier." The beam pulsed once, warm, almost gentle. Then the response came, not in words, but in a feeling that filled his chest with fire. A single human is never alone. The light spread outward again, but this time not as a shock wave. Instead, a soft, expanding veil washed over the battlefield, brushing against Dominion soldiers, drones, and command units alike. Where it touched them, aggression dimmed, weapons powered down, fear disintegrated. The Dominion general, Kortek, still pinned against the broken wall, stared in disbelief. He
"He's stabilizing the field," one of his officers whispered. "No human should be able to do this. No species should." Kade wasn't sure how he knew, but he understood the machine's intent now. Humanity's greatest power wasn't destruction, it was connection, unity, defiance in the face of extinction. The artifact wasn't amplifying violence, it was amplifying human will. Kade turned toward the Dominion forces, his armor battered, blood on his cheek, eyes blazing with golden reflection. "You came to conquer us," he said softly, "but you don't understand what we really are." He pointed at the human refugees behind him, families huddled together, injured soldiers still refusing to leave the field, medics working under falling dust and smoke. Kade said, "You saw one human, but behind one human stands all of humanity." The ancient machine flared. Every human heart within miles beat in sync for a single moment, steady, defiant, unbreakable. The pulse traveled up the beam and into the sky. Dominion ships recoiled as if struck by a tidal wave of impossible unity. And the galaxy finally understood. Humans didn't win because they were strong. They won because they refused to fall alone. The Dominion flagship withdrew. Then another. Then the entire fleet turned away. Not defeated by weapons, defeated by the truth of what humanity really was. Kade exhaled, and the golden beam faded into motes of light around him. The war hadn't ended, but today, the galaxy learned something it would never forget. You can break a weapon, you can break an empire, but you cannot break humanity.